isn't it going to cause any harm or lead to false advertisements? The big thing you want to try and do is just try and push as many clicks and give as much information as quickly as possible to the end consumer. And you guys add packaging on the listing, but product packing has different wording or completely different packaging, isn't it going to cause any harm or lead to false advertisements? Typically not. So what Daniel's kind of talking about is on Amazon. I mean, he's talking about our CTR main image chest, right? If we, for instance, look at some of the Age of Sage stuff, so we have this and this one over here on our right. These ones are actually the exact same packaging. So this is the actual packaging that we use on the products. But that being said, there's probably a few of these like this one in here, smudge guides, stuff like that. Or this Sage kit, this is probably not the actual packaging I would imagine that they're using here at the end of the day. So realistically, no. The big part that I usually try and tell people with CTR main image hacks where you're adding the product packaging in, the purpose is to add more information about the product itself. Typically, you want to try and have the packaging be as close to your actual packaging as possible. But realistically, if there is, a few keywords that are different or the overall packaging is just slightly different, you're not going to run into really all that many issues. The big thing you want to try and do is just try and push as many clicks and give as much information as quickly as possible to the end consumer. Is it okay to write medical grade in listing, text or image? Question 2, is the top of search is metric a KPI that we should consider when we optimize PPC? So let's talk about medical grade and what you can and can't say within a listing. The big thing when you are saying something like medical grade is that you then are essentially classifying this as a medical product. You'll see and notice, even if I'm typing in medical grade, you're not going to see many products outside of something like this, say medical grade. So why can this product say medical grade within it, but other products cannot? This specifically, and I'll see if they actually have it attached here. Usually they have product documentation somewhere down here that they can look at, but it doesn't look like they attached it for buyers to see. But essentially, to be able to say medical grade, you actually do have to have the documentation showing that it is medical grade. So medical grade is something that would classify your product within the realm of a medical product or medication. So it is one of those where you can't just throw it on any product, even if it is theoretically medical grade. So if you're selling, let's say, gloves of some kind, sterile gloves, I wouldn't necessarily look at throwing medical grade on there immediately unless you have all the manufacturing documentation, all of the approvement documentation, certification showing that. If you do, then I would upload that on the back end of Amazon for the product specifically, and then I would submit a case to seller support asking for them to classify your product as medical grade with that documentation, and then I would add it. I wouldn't just do it right off the bat though. Back to the FBM on-time delivery. Yours is 90.6. If it falls below 90%, that's an account deactivate. I'm an FBM, and that's why I'm asking. It's a nail in the coffin for us FBM sellers. Yeah, it's deactivation. Typically speaking, Eugene, what I'm gonna recommend there, anytime someone falls below that 90%, is immediately call account health assurance and then submit a case based on telling them, hey, this is why. So owning up to things on Amazon, giving them a plan of action as to why it's not going to happen in the future, and then, essentially saying, hey, here's the thing. The big thing comes down to just use reputable, good, services. If you can show that, like, let's say UPS, the truck that they were carrying crashed or something, and that's out of your control, Amazon is very forgiving of that kind of thing.